Well, just how much of yourself do you want to share online? Well, some of the biggest social network and database companies, including Google, Facebook, and Plexo, announced intentions to send representatives to the Data Portability Workgroup. Yeah, there's something like that. To talk about sharing with this week's Turn It On, innovation technology coach Todd Townsend. Interesting workshop. That's going to be a barn burner, but you're saying it actually is going to be very important.
It actually is, and Cheryl, you and I talked about this 6 months ago at one stage about social networking. A lot's changed even since that conversation. What's going on now is basically people are building silos. You have Facebook, you have MySpace, you have LinkedIn, and you go and create a profile and you talk to everybody within that silo. But people want to be able to talk to each other across these groups. Maybe there's people with similar interests. So what this deal means is they're going to come up with a standard so you can create a profile called a social graph out there in the technology world. And that information about you, you can now use across all these websites eventually, and you can decide what parts of that information actually make it to what website. So if you want business information to one site, it goes there. Friends information to one site, it goes there. It's going to make it much easier to find the people you want to deal with.
One phrase comes to mind, I don't know, sexual predators?
Well, you know, it's the same thing. You'll still have privacy control over your data to an extent. It's just like having a contact list on your cell phone or something. You can decide who can see what about you, and you can check those boxes and say, I only want you to see stuff about my friends, or I only want this employer to see my work history.
We hope that the teenagers know to do that. I mean, you got to admit, that's a thing. It's a thing, as we call it. I call it. All right. So is this good for the businesses then? Is this good for Facebook or for Google? I mean, does it help them financially? Or
you know what? It's interesting because the model seems to be changing a little bit. Of course, all those businesses are based on advertising right now. Basically, they try to get as many eyeballs as they can, and then they can say to the advertisers, look, we got a lot of people watching. Pay us. So what's happening now, though, is people are saying, we want to get together and actually conduct business on these sites. So once they actually meet and start conducting business in these micro groups, where does the money come from for the big companies? Once you've used Facebook to get together and then you say, let's actually get together in the real world and start doing something, then their revenue stream disappears unless you keep coming back to their website to conduct that business. So these companies are in a situation now where they have to evolve too, but no one's quite sure where it's going. The sharing of the information, the sharing of your personal information is the first step, and in 6 months from now, we're going to be somewhere totally else with this, but it will evolve. All
right, Todd Townsend. It's a fascinating story. It has changed a lot. You're right. We did talk about that in June. Thank you very much. Tom?
Well.